welcome to the Catholic Forge, a conversational podcast where we gather to explore our Catholic faith and discuss how it forms our lives. All are welcome to join in this conversation and journey. Thank you for listening. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. This is Eric in Missouri.
And this is Ben in Kentucky.
Ben, what a time it has been recently in the world of music. And we were just talking before the show about, who are we talking about? Billy Joel. Well, of course, no news about him. Elton John announces his retirement. Rush announced their retirement.
Oh, I didn't know Elton John announced his retirement.
Yeah, that was, I was mentioning that on the radio, you know, they were doing a giveaway for tickets when he comes to Kansas City in like a year or something, and it was a big to-do because the tickets were going to be impossible to get otherwise because it would be his last stop in Kansas City. So a bunch of bands recently announcing retirement. The great Neil Diamond hung it up after, I guess he became more public about his Parkinson's. And so there's a bunch happening in the musical landscape, and not because of this reason, but it might as well be a contributing factor. We thought we'd talk a little bit about music on the show. I feel like music, kind of like Lord of the Rings, music has always been under the surface in a lot of our discussions. And so let me start with an obvious question, perhaps, but in whatever way you want to answer it, what does music mean to you?
Oh man, that's a big question.
It is.
Well, I'll answer that. I can answer what it has meant to me.
Sure.
And what it does mean to me. I'll be honest, and I don't mean this in a bad way at all. It's just kind of one of those stages of life things. It doesn't mean as much to me now as it did we all remember, actually I knew some teenagers that just weren't into music, and I always it was kind of like a barrier. Like if I met another teenager that wasn't into music, I just thought, I mean, this is going to sound really harsh, but I just kind of thought, I don't really think there's any point in getting to know you.
Okay.
Keep in mind, I wasn't a Christian at the time. I could have those kind of horrible thoughts. But I mean, when I was a teenager, man, it was just a complete source of comfort and solace. I felt like most teenagers, I think, you know, we're all side by side feeling alone and isolated at the same time. I never really felt like I fit in or had my place in the world figured out. And just I guess I'm talking more now songs than just music specifically, but you know, to hear in the lyrics of a song somebody just nailing what I was feeling at that moment, I'd find those songs and man, I just listened to them over and over. So I mean, back then it was just a humongous source of comfort. Now, of course, like fast forward 20 years, I've got a family. I've got this wonderful Catholic faith that I didn't have back then. I have different sources of comfort, and I feel much more grounded in my place in the world. You know, like I know where I am. I know who I am. I know what I live for. So I don't rely on music as much for that reason anymore, of like to give me, and it can be a very dangerous thing too, depending on who you're listening to, what kind of lyrics you don't want to hang your hat on the musings of every musician and every lyric you hear. You know, they don't necessarily have all the answers to life, even though they might think they do, but
sure.
But now, so now, this is a long-winded answer, but now it means more to me, almost relaxation, not so much comfort, but more of a peace, just the enjoyment of listening to it. And I listen to a lot happier stuff now. You know, I'm not so much attracted to the kind of brooding, you know, lost lyrics that I was attracted to 20 years ago. Now it's more like, you know, something that makes me feel good when I listen to it.
Yeah, sure.
That's a really long answer. How about you?
No, I would say that's a very conservative answer, knowing you. That you've managed to get to, it's a good digest, I would say, you know, for you, and just because I know to sort of pull the cat out of the bag.
Oh yeah.
What is your experience of music, and like, you know, like, were you ever in band, or what instruments do you play, or have played, or want to play, or anything like that?
No, I left out that most important detail. I took up playing guitar when I was 13. Nice. And in a lot of ways, I mean, it was my best friend throughout middle school, high school. I would hole up in my room for hours just learning and practicing. So yeah, like I made it sound like all I did was listen to music, but no, playing guitar, it really gave me something to sink myself into. And I was by no means a, expert guitar player, and I'm still not now, but I mean, it was like one part music, one part brain exercise, from you play instruments as well. It's very mathematical to learn an instrument. It's a lot like the same muscles when you feel like when you're doing a crossword or Sudoku or something. There's a lot of puzzle problem solving parts of it. So that was an entertaining part of it too, because you put in all that hard work of the puzzle, but then you get out this emotional experience of the song in the end, Yeah. So yeah, the playing guitar and taking that up, huge. I can't even define my adolescence and high school years without thinking of guitar playing.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a cool way to say it. And for it to be so near to you.
Yeah, never in band though, like never in school band. I would play informally, kind of garage band type. Me and some friends get together and jam really out of time, not good rhythm probably. but it was fun,
just to play,
yeah. But no, I would get home from school and maybe get a snack, and then I was up to my room for probably playing guitar until bedtime. It was like, in a way, I miss that.
That's awesome. Just to see that nearness of music, and it is a special thing when you, like you said, not only listening or appreciating music, but making music. That you're spending your time creating it out of yourself, or playing along with a lead sheet off the internet or something like that. There's something really special about that. And it is hard to describe to someone who has not done it, to someone who's just a listener or an observer or just a concert goer, even to describe to them what it's like to play music, to change the room.
Yeah.
With the sound that comes from your body or your instrument. There's something really special about that. And I would say I feel much in the way that you do, that from a young age, I was always very attracted to music in one way or another. And then I was in band, and it's not that my parents made me, and maybe they did, I can't remember. But I played trombone, and I was dreadful. Ugh. But my stupid joke is they had to make a fourth chair for me because I was so bad, and that's not true. But I was third chair, and I was really bad. And for those who don't know, first chair is like the best, and then third chair is the not even the JV team, but like play as quietly as possible, that kind of thing.
And is that just a known now in the band world? Is that just a known thing? So like if you're a third chair, you just know, okay, that means I'm not as good as everyone.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Oh. And you can challenge up, so you can challenge to get into better chair positions. But I never did. I was just not good at it for whatever reason, which obviously kind of added to the surprise when I went away to school to study, youth and family ministry, only to then, have a sudden change to music ministry. And now, in a sense, to be a career musician, but in a very limited sense. I mean, not compared to like other career musicians.
Yeah, but that's fair. You do make a living playing music, so that's fair.
Not just playing music, but right. I mean, more or less. It's kind of tricky to describe to people sometimes, because I've had people ask me, well, what do you do? And I'll kind of describe it, and they'll say, oh, so you're the choir director. Well, not just the choir director.
Yeah, there's a huge organizational aspect to what you do, yeah.
And the administration obviously dominates the actual like time spent with the instrument. But that is my primary vehicle of ministry, at least at the parish level, and music is something I enjoy in a profound way. I don't even know how I would really say it. I wish I could digest as well as you, and just say plainly how I feel about it, but I don't know that I can. But perhaps like you, because there are so many layers to it. I see music as so many different things, and just to kind of answer that same B point. I guess I played the trombone, but I don't anymore. Although I suppose my parents still have that beautiful instrument somewhere that my dad played when he was in high school back in the day, and so that's kind of cool for it to play a vintage instrument. It sounded great. I didn't.
Oh, so he played the exact trombone that you played.
Yeah. I played cool. the exact trombone that he played. Yeah, so it was cool. I tried to honor him there. Failed. Well, sorry, but so I don't play that anymore. But I do play, I guess the easiest way to say it is I play the guitars and the keyboards. Because, just say for you, Ben, I mean, you play guitar, but obviously really that means you can play electric and acoustic. And you probably could find your way around a bass guitar.
Yeah, I've messed with a bass a few times.
Yeah. And like if someone handed you a ukulele, after a couple minutes, you could probably fuss something out, you know?
I've always wanted to play one. Yeah, I've never even handled a ukulele.
Well, let me just, I just happen to have a guitar here. Of course, I always keep a guitar. If you go, and for those who are listening, it's no help to you at all. But if you go, I believe, if you go capo 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you play just the D, G, B, E strings, that's ukulele tuning.
Oh, okay.
So you can practice your ukulele chords.
I didn't know that.
So pull up your ukulele beginner chords PDF from Google, and then you can practice your chords. Anyway, so I do a bit of that, and I play piano mostly. I play organ, but dreadfully, and so I try to avoid that as much as possible. And I sing a bit, and I write music a bit, and do other things. And so, yeah, I'm a career musician in that respect, even though my actual day-to-day work does a lot more. You'd mentioned something there that really struck a note with me, and that is tying music to memory. And to get into this, we have this little audio clip here, and we'd like to play it for you. This is Steve Harvey. I don't know when it was exactly. Let's just say during the 90s. And Steve Harvey is introducing Earth, Wind & Fire at the BET Awards. And Earth, Wind & Fire is about to be awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award. And Steve says something here that illustrates this point beautifully and rather comically. So let's take a listen.
These here dudes is not new. And the other way, see, there's certain qualifications you got to go through to get a Lifetime Achievement Award. First of all, your music has to have stood the test of time. That's number one. Your hit got to make a lot of sense every time they hear it, year after year after year. And what the second way is, as soon as the first note of your song is played, everybody in there got to go, oh, hell no. Y'all, I know they didn't just play that right there. If your music don't do that, you can't get no Lifetime Achievement Award. Hear me tonight. I'm bringing these boys out the right way. Now I'm gonna tell you something else. The other qualification is, when you hear the music, it has to remind you of a special place and a special time. When you hear it, your mind got to click over, pack, into something, and it make you look off. If yours don't do that, you can't get no Lifetime Achievement. This is all I'm trying to tell y'all.
Okay. So what I like there is that, and I mean, if you know Earth, Wind & Fire, you know they got the hits. And for him, of course, he's just referring to them. But I think we can all relate to the power of music to connect us to points in the past, even distant points.
Oh yeah.
And I've actually kind of enjoyed, just kind of. I'm trying to think of what's that in Venice. The boats that you ride on and the Italian guy sings to you.
Gondolas.
The gondolas. I feel like I'm taking a gondola ride through my memory and hearing all these songs play, connected to all kinds of different moments in my life. Do you have any examples, Ben, that are handy that you can think of, or that you would even be willing to share, where like an important moment that's definitively and will eternally be connected to a song?
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know about important, but yeah, we got a couple really. And again, going back to that high school time when music was just, I just listened to it constantly. Which, ironically, that was before the time of iPods or smartphones.
Mm-hmm.
You actually had to have a CD to listen to a song.
Walkman or something like that.
Yeah, so it was less available and less convenient to listen to, but I still managed to listen to it more than I do now. But, well, I think I've mentioned it on here, one of my favorite bands of all time is Oasis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Had the 90s hits, Wonderwall, Don't Look Back in Anger. And that the album that those songs were on specifically, every time I listen to it now, I still can picture me and my friend in high school driving around on a sunny spring day, when it was just really good, sunny, nice weather music, because it's kind of upbeat, it's fun, it's a good pace, and it makes me think of spring. Now I'll listen to it in the wintertime still, but it's I associate it with that season of like spring, school's almost out, summer's coming, everybody's in a good mood. And so a vague memory there of just, like when you're a teenager, so much of your time spent just driving around in a car. You just got your license and that's what you do. You drive around. More specifically, Eric Clapton's Wonderful Tonight, that song?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
There was a German girl, a foreign exchange student at my high school. We went to one of the dances together. I didn't know anything of other countries or cultures really as a high schooler. I was getting to... Internet was a lot less back then too. Let's remember, you couldn't just research and watch a million YouTube videos anytime you wanted.
Right.
So in my mind, there was America and then there was everywhere else. And I was shocked to learn that this German girl, she liked Eric Clapton and all this stuff. And I remember she really liked that song, Wonderful Tonight. And we were back at somebody's house after the dance hanging out, and there was a guitar. And I knew how to play it, so she had me play that song. So, if I hear Eric Clapton's Wonderful Tonight, I'm going to think of that high school dance and this German girl, Sarah Lena.
And it's not by mistake that what an evocative such an evocative guitar lead, that always just takes you right there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's powerful.
But yeah, me and my American-centric view, I was like, oh, Germans have heard of Eric Clapton? That's crazy.
That's funny. As if she's like, have you heard of Mozart?
Yeah.
he was Austrian, granted, but yeah, that's so funny. That's funny. Anything else that comes to mind right away? I'm so enjoying listening.
Now, those are two, and then, get into college, I've got more memories. Then it's kind of memories of strumming, and I took a big shift in college and played almost exclusively acoustic guitar for years on end. So a lot of just acoustic strumming with a couple guys I knew in college.
Everyone has a Dave Matthews phase. It's okay.
Yeah, I did. I learned a lot of Dave Matthews songs.
That's you're gonna bust your chops on Dave Matthews for sure. Absolutely.
And there is that joke around Dave Matthews now, but man, that guy, acoustic guitar, he was an acoustic guitar genius.
Yeah.
And you can't.
Yeah.
You can appreciate it when you listen to it, but I don't think you really appreciate it until you actually learn to play his songs, and it's like, wow. Most people pick up an acoustic and they strum chords, He used every fret and every note on the fretboard.
Even just, did you ever learn Don't Drink the Water? Did you learn that one?
Yeah, there was a time I knew how to play it.
It was
drop D tuning.
It's in drop D. I don't have it here handy, but if you want to test your strength, just And then like that's the whole song is him holding on to that A-shaped bar chord.
Yeah.
Just go and test yourself. And that dude plays that song for like 8 minutes.
Oh yeah.
And he's hanging on to that chord for dear life. And yeah, he's got the drop D. But of course, like So Much to Say and a bunch of those with just like such honey sweet licks.
Oh yeah. I went through a big. You ever heard of Pete Yorn? I went through a big Pete Yorn phase in college too. He's one of those guys that is a big name by all standards of celebrity, but he never really broke the surface of like he's not a household name. He's got some songs on that Jim Carrey movie, Me, Myself, and Irene. That soundtrack has a couple of his songs on it. So like he's out there, you know, he's known, but he never was huge. But in college, I really loved him. We'd sit around and strum his songs. Yeah, he's kind of like a modern Springsteen feel. I mean, he's from New Jersey actually. But
nice. Yeah,
so a lot of college memories with that.
Nice. If I can just return, you know, some of those items. I mean, oh my gosh, I mentioned before. I'm trying to go back, like just thinking about being young, but I remember driving into town in our dope red station wagon that we had with that red leather interior that would just cook your skin on a hot day. Yep. It would turn you into a fried egg. And I remember just plain as day listening to Michael W. Smith's Go West Young Man album, which had, among other things, don't mind my clickety clacking. I want to look at the the track list for that album, because for me these were formative songs as a young man. Go West Young Man, which is the title song. Love Crusade, of course, Michael's biggest hit ever, Place in This World. The wind is moving, but I am standing still. So powerful, you know? And I couldn't appreciate the sentiment of the song yet, but I remember being a young man and my mom just pumping that on the the station wagon stereo and just feeling so formed in it. I remember in high school, you mentioned, or middle school, you mentioned, you know, how it was cool to like the same music. And there were a couple kids who were my friends who we all listened to the same oldies station, 93.5, K-Doc, oldies. K-Doc, because we grew, you know, it was by the ocean. Yeah. And I remember specifically, I think it was with Jimmy, but maybe with Jesse. And it was during PE. Which, you know, in middle school, PE is like nothing. It's like this kind of like amorphous, like just don't talk to the teacher for 45 minutes time. And so we played golf, and by golf, they literally just unleashed us on a soccer field with putters.
That's hilarious.
and
So zero cardiovascular activity.
Yeah, they were just like, here are putters and here are golf balls. Just go hit the balls around and walk around, you know? And so but I remember that whoever it was, I think it was Jimmy. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, so we were walking way back just, you know, because you know how kids are. We just like start walking and talking. And I don't know, I wish I could go back in time and relive this moment. But we started singing America's Horse with No Name. And maybe the only part that we could sing together was the la 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 la. But then we try to like remember the lyrics, you know, on the first part of the journey. I don't know, but that's like born in my mind so strong, and that's a fun memory. But oh my gosh, in the deep sorrow as well. You know, in the real dark moments of life of heartbreak. Oh yeah. And pain. You know, I remember after a pretty brutal breakup, I was driving late at night, and I can't remember where I was, but I was driving, and I had George Strait on, and there wasn't nothing like smoking a cigarette in the middle of the night when you're just blasting George Strait when you're driving, you know, and just feeling like you said. I mean, forgive me for being a little sentimental, but you know, when George Strait comes through and he's just singing in the best sense, you know, what you're feeling about being lonely or broken as a person, as a man, you know, yeah. It just something comes up inside of you, you know, and I've got so many memories like that of not of heartache, but of where music came through, like you said, it came through specifically and met you precisely where you're at, and that's so special to me. That's the power of music. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's. The way I think of it, music is another language. It's an extra language. So if you speak English and you can't say what you need to say with English words, then music is another outlet. And yeah, like I remember times I was just down, kind of depressed, maybe lonely, wondering when I was going to meet the girl of my dreams, and just strumming some kind of mournful, sad sounding chords on the acoustic. I do that for 30 minutes. And it's like it was giving me that expression, that language to like, yeah, this is what I need to say right now. And I was saying it to my own room. Nobody was even listening. But I'd walk away from that after 30 minutes and feel better. I didn't know why. I just thought, playing guitar, that makes me feel better. So that's another big part of it in my life, is that it gives you that language when you don't have it elsewhere,
I think that's a really beautiful way to kind of go back to what we started with, in a sense, that someone who doesn't make music can't necessarily understand, and no doubt they express themselves in some other way, perhaps a way that we can't understand as musicians, but being able to, you're right, just pick a couple minor chords or whatever, and get it out of you somehow. That's powerful, Ben. Maybe as a way to kind of wrap up, you pick whichever one of these you want. Maybe talk about how would you feel about music and your kids, or perhaps, if you were so daring, music as worship. Do either of those float your boat?
Well, a quick example with the kids. So Evie is 5. Olive, she's 2. She does
nice.
She does like to pick up an egg shaker and go to town now and then. But
okay.
And if anybody doesn't know, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a little plastic egg-shaped thing filled with like beads or rice or something.
Yeah,
it just
absolutely
gives a nice little percussion sound. But
yeah.
But Evie, she's getting old enough. I tried to give her some informal guitar lessons. Because she was interested. She'd see me play and really be interested.
Yeah.
But I think we jumped the gun. That was like last year when she was 4, and the guitar is just it's kind of an unforgiving instrument on little hands.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a proper high quality youth guitar for her. So the strings hurt her fingers, her hand strength just isn't there. And she got frustrated really quick. But my in-laws graciously gave us a digital piano. We haven't gotten too far into it because she is 5 and she doesn't, you can't blame her. She doesn't have the discipline to just be like, yeah, I want to practice every day.
Yeah.
There are days that she'd just rather, play with toys or whatever. But we've gotten a few lessons in, actually using a book that you had recommended that you said you teach people with, starting out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she's getting the hang, her fingers, first finger, second finger, that kind of thing. And,
excellent.
And she seems to really enjoy it. I would like it if I don't want to be one of those parents, that pushes the kid too hard. I would like it if she wanted to play and practice a little more, because I'm always ready. I'm like, hey, you want to sit down and play your piano with me? And sometimes she's just not into it, doesn't want to. But we try to get it at least once a week, try to sit down together and work on a few more ideas of it. She's at a huge loss because, as I play guitar, I'm not a piano player. I know all the basic chords on a piano. I can fumble around a few songs and they're recognizable, but I'm not the best coach for her. I'm just trying to get her toes in the water, and then if she takes to it, then I'll get her in more capable hands,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, on the kid front, she's very interested. Evie is very interested in music, and it's kind of sweet because we're just now getting to that stage where she will be listening to like more just like whatever I want to listen to, like more adult songs around her, and she's picking up on that versus like the little kitty, Raffi and stuff.
Not him again.
When she was like 2 or 3, we put it on Pandora on like the kitty songs, and she loved that. But now she's really showing interest in, actual adult songs. And yeah, of course you got to be careful of lyrical content and all that, but
sure. Yeah.
So yeah, she seems like she's going to be into it, and she's showing some aptitude for it. She can pick out a tune. She can hold a little bit of a beat and everything. So
nice.
What about Hannah's younger than Evie, but is she into it at all?
They're both pretty musically inclined. I'm trying to think of a good example. I have my guitar handy. Let me think if I can remember how it goes. Was it Capo 5 that song was on? Oof, no, I lost tune. Sorry. I won't make you suffer that. I wrote a little itty bitty gospel acclamation for Advent that we used at the parish. Very simple, and they took to that because they would hear me like singing it around the house or whatever, or like as I was kind of like fine tuning it, and they would kind of sing along. And then we did a gospel style gospel acclamation at Christmas, and they only heard it one time, and it's so infectious that it got into their heads, and they always sing it. And then after Mass, oftentimes they'll want to run over to the piano, and of course you got don't run, we're in church, don't run, But they'll want to play a song or something, or they'll want me to play, and so I'll often play that. That's Stephen Pishner's Gospel Alleluia. And if I play the theme song to Chuggington or Puffin Rock or one of the shows they listen to, they can always recognize it. And then they both listen to a song at bedtime, and they're normally secular songs. Daniel, I had to ask Tori to be sure, but I think that he has listened to Michael Martin Murphy's Wildfire every night for like a year, I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with him. I know that Hannah and I used to listen to that every night for a while, but now I don't know how we got here, Ben. I don't know how we got here. She always wants to hear Toto's I'll Be Over You.
Oh, wow.
No one even knows that song exists anymore. It's a very powerful love song, and it's got some remarkable guitar work from Steve Lukather, especially on the live version. Incredible. It's so sad to me that they get overlooked, because that was like during their period when it was like big hair, leather jackets, piercings, I don't know what they were going through in the 80s.
Oh, it was big.
But oh my gosh, that dude can play some guitar. And it's just amazing. This is the same band that had like Africa, that kind, Roseanne, Hold the Line, that kind of stuff. But I'll Be Over You. So I'm telling you, Tori put him to bed tonight. But if it was me putting her to bed, I'd say, honey, what song do you want to hear? I'll Be Over You. Ooh, And so I try to mix it up a little bit, and give her different things that are kind of more soft, beautiful.
Yeah.
But so we don't do a lot of music making. One thing that, just as a recommendation, if I haven't mentioned this to you before, I had a student, a guitar student who was younger, and she was a little too young to go with the guitar. And so I asked her parents, I said, if you really want to try this, how about we do ukulele? Because a lot of the chords are just one finger chords, chordings, and the strings are plastic. Now, or nylon. Now you do need to buy not a $10 one,
right?
You
get
need
it good.
Yeah, like an actual instrument, but maybe not one that's like so expensive that you don't mind if it gets stepped on and broken, because it will get stepped on and it will break and it will be garbage. I mean, you can't. Once the top cracks after you step on it in the dark, it's done. And so you might consider that, and you don't even have to buy one, Ben, because like I said, Capo 5 and then play 4 through 1 and then you're good.
Yeah.
So it just, as a consider, like if her birthday comes up and she's like, hey, how about that guitar? And you're like, let's go to the guitar store, and then take her down there, get one of the Akai's or whatever they are, and let her kind of play with it a little bit. It's definitely the right size for her body.
That would give me an excuse to get a ukulele too.
They are a lot of fun. I have one, and I don't play it very much, but they are a lot of fun to play. So we don't do any like formal music stuff, although we will kind of work on. I mean, I say work on, but I'll sort of play rhythm games with them or something like that. Or just as this is what I do. But if we're listening to a song, I'll try to like bounce them in time or clap their hands in time.
Oh, yeah.
Just to give them a sense of that. I'm not like counting it. I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4. Count on the beat or I'll throw you out the window. It's not like that, But just to kind of let them feel the rhythm.
You could have said door and it would have rhymed perfectly.
Oh,
Throw you out the door.
well, you can't throw a child through a door unless it's a glass door. But
Okay.
sorry, that's weird. Please don't call the FPARC on me or whatever.
No, I get what you're saying.
So no real musical formation, but just kind of little things like that, which I think work. You sing with them. I tell Tori, or I used to tell her more. Now I'm not so aggressive about it. I'm not so strong about it. Have music on all the time. Whether and like today I was cooking a bit, and so it was like all 70s, and then it came time for dinner, and I switched over to Mozart. And so just to kind of keep it in the air, and they listen to that. They hear the song changes, and they want to know what's this one called or that kind of stuff. What instrument is that? So
yeah.
I think for how old they are, that's pretty great, I think.
Yeah, because at this age, I mean, and that's why I said I don't want to be one of those parents that, and it doesn't have to be music. It can be any kind of, stage parent that just ruins it for the kid.
Right.
The main thing is to foster a love of music. And in their own good time, they'll do what they are meant to do with it,
Yeah.
Actually, as I'm saying this, it's kind of a parallel with our faith. I mean, now I'm speaking off the cuff. I have not thought of this. This is not any notes, so nobody put me on a stake for this. But off the top of my head, I'm thinking there's a parallel because with our faith, when kids are young, the most important thing is to foster a love for Jesus. If you beat a kid down too hard with doctrine for too long, you get a lot of these stories of 18-year-olds that can't wait to run for the hills, and get as far away from the church as possible. If you foster a genuine love for what we're talking about, then the intricacies and the details they'll choose those and they'll follow those on their own. So maybe I'm out of line there. I don't know. I haven't thought it through very carefully, but it seems to be true, with music and with faith. Foster a love for the heart of it, and then all the details will come.
I would agree. I would say in general, I mean, what else can you do? But you said foster. Just just put it in their hands, in their head. Anything is better. And I threw it out there. I'm not gonna do a redaction, but I want to just leave that question out there for next time. Music as worship. And of course, not that only Catholics can approach it, but as a Catholic person, as a Catholic podcast anyway, hard to ask that question without getting real close to liturgy. And and if this was that episode, I'd have the Catechism song on standby, because there's a lot the Catechism has to say, along with many documents about music in sacred worship. And so let's just put that aside for now. But I would like to ask a lot of these questions again with regard to liturgical music. And how do you foster your kids in that? How do you encourage them to not only participate, to sing? Right now I got 2 kids who refuse to sing, which doesn't look great for the director of liturgy and music. I mean, it's fine. But they obviously do sing because they can still sing the gospel acclamations back. And that's pretty good. Anyway, well, this has been the Catholic Forge. I was gonna sing that to the tune of listen to the music, Well, this has been the Catholic Forge. But on my little guitar here, Ben, it's impossible to play up to the 12th fret.
Oh, yeah.
Which is where, but it's just impossible. And I was like, well, I could just transpose down to D, but I was like, oh, forget it. So anyway, this has been the Catholic Forge. Thank you for listening. As always, we'd like to close with a prayer and a blessing. May God the Father,
God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit bless you, guard you, and lead you to eternal life. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for listening to The Catholic Forge. We hope you've enjoyed this episode and will leave us a positive rating and a review on iTunes, SoundCloud, or YouTube. Click the like button, follow, subscribe, tweet, retweet. How about 5 stars for music in your life? And hey, did you enjoy this episode? Share it with a musical friend of yours, or with kids, parents who have kids who love music. Any iteration of that. Share the episode, please. You can continue the conversation with us on Facebook and Twitter, and to get a hold of us, you can reach us at thecatholicforge@gmail.com. For more information regarding the podcast, visit our website at www.thecatholicforge.com. We especially thank our harmonious wives for their continued support of this project, and we thank you very much for listening.